Let's expand the conversation with the security strategist and retired Interpol Ambassador Mashaile, who joins us for more. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. I mean, listening to some of the big security threats currently facing Africa that the Interpol conference is seeking to address. We heard Minister Kachalia speaking about organized crime costing the country billions of rands, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and cybersecurity. What impact will working alongside partners in the continent and across the world have in centering the approach and strategy to dealing with these crimes and others?
It will help streamline the objectives and the operations. Let me cite an example of Operation Serengeti that destroyed, dismantled, took servers, arrested scammers, that amongst others 88 victims that lost about $100 million US. So this gathering speaks to the issue, one, of streamlining, two, the issue of updating policies as well as operational procedures. It also speaks, number three, of collaboration that is led through intelligence as well as with cooperation from political leadership. This morning we had General Ntantam Khwanazi indicating that South Africa had a wonderful relationship with Mozambique with regards to law enforcement in the region. But with a change of leadership, that kind of a relationship slacked a bit, meaning that it would have impacted the successes that he wanted to achieve. Also, we are speaking here with focusing on systemic improvement. We had the president suggesting that through innovation, we can be able to overtake this organized, transnational organized crime syndicates. You and I must know that criminals develop a new modus operandi every 7 days. That is why in most cases, they are ahead of the police. In your cyber crime space, criminals in that space devise a new modus operandi every 8 hours.
How much of an influence do you think domestic security concerns may have, influenced the participation or the stance of some of the major African countries?
When the economy slacks, when the economy is not going beyond 1% as set by governments in those areas, you are now giving birth, or that situation gives birth to opportunistic crimes that would mean a burglary to steal a plasma to sell for food. And serious opportunistic crime would be criminals taking advantage of the situation to recruit into their supply lines young people with expertise, young people who are desperate to join their drug trafficking, human trafficking, arms trafficking, water trafficking, amongst other things, referring to the water mafia that we've learned of in South Africa, as well as your construction mafia in one specific country. When you have that cocktail of dynamics, your crime will escalate and the participation of the community will decrease, suggesting that people have lost confidence in the police, and this erodes trust in the police. Hence, these 54 countries decided to come together, amongst other things, lay a platform for AfriPol that would speak to easy access in terms of a red notice with Andy's name on, and he has run to Tanzania. It would be easy when the cooperations and the agreements have been revisited, obviously based on the last 2 years. This meeting happens every 2 years. In the last 2 years, there have been successes. Why were there successes? In the last 2 years, there were challenges. Why were there challenges? What kind of innovation are we looking at? If we are talking about fusion centers where you have all law enforcement agencies utilizing technology, and you're going to say, what kind of technology? Your artificial intelligence in terms of identifying illicit flows, identifying irregular tenders awarded and the money that flows in that space.
And just veering off slightly before we wrap our discussion up, we know that the Madlanga inquiry, which we know, of course, was established to look into the explosive allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, has since been delayed. We also know that Justice Minister Mamluko Kubai has since suspended her department's Director General. What's your perspective? I mean, is this an indication that political interference or pressure is perhaps contributing to the delays?
One, with regard to the suspension of the officials, that is the best way and that is the route to go, because it would instill authority in the minds of the South Africans, as well as confidence, as well as integrity and legitimacy of the operations of the legal commission. One is not good at going with the flow without a set of facts. And I am not sure whether there is political influence or the officials were motivated by some political shenanigans to have delayed the procurement of the infrastructure or the tools. It is also a responsibility of the minister, as reporting to the president, to have requested feedback hourly or 2 hourly, or at least every 4 hours, to say what is the latest, what are the bottlenecks, how can I help, how can my intervention help to ease the situation.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us this evening and weighing in on the subject. Security strategist and retired Interpol Ambassador Andy Mashaile, they're giving us some perspective.